A broker can be a buyer's best friend. Now, most buyers, they're often dreaming of those sweet, sweet off-market private deals where they can buy a business at a sick discount. But here's something people don't realize. When it comes to running an M&A brokerage like what we have, our repeat customer are not the sellers, it's the buyers. So why is that? Why are buyers our repeat customers? The reason is a broker is a buyer's secret weapon. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, my name is Gregory Elfring. I am the Director of Marketing over at empireflippers, and I am glad you are here. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and do that down below. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why buying a business from a broker makes a lot of sense. And the first part of this is really brokers make it almost an easy street for buyers to succeed. And there's a lot of reasons why that is. And I'll get into a few here. But the first one is, oh, got something in my eye. I'm definitely not editing this out. Just waiting for you to like and subscribe the video. Okay, hopefully you liked and subscribed. My eye is good now. Okay, so using a broker is an easy street for a buyer. And the reason why is buying a business is often a complex, confusing task. It's not like going down to your local 7-Eleven or convenience store and buying something, right? It's not a transaction that is as smooth as that. It's a lot more challenging. There's a lot more moving parts. It's a lot simpler in a lot of ways than buying a house or even buying a car can be more complex than buying a business. But with that said, there's still a bunch of different nuances here, and that can be very confusing for someone who's brand new to the process. So when they use a broker like us to buy an online business that is already making money, is already high quality, all that kind of stuff, they get to shortcut all the mistakes they were probably about to make if they were buying their first business as a private deal. And it's totally free as well. Like the buyer pays us nothing. So the buyer gets all this education by using us. Another thing that buying from a broker can really help you with is deal flow. If you are trying to buy an established business and you're building your own private deal flow and you only have like 1 or 2 businesses you're getting per week to look at, that's really not enough. If you have good criteria, which if you don't, we can help you set that up as part of the other thing we do. We coach buyers on how to do this stuff. Then you should be really looking at several businesses per day, not 2 per week. So how do you get that deal volume? Well, it's very difficult. If you're doing outreach, it can be very time-consuming, labor-intensive, and frankly, unrewarding for most people that I know who've done it. They hate it. So instead, you can just tap into a broker's seller network. Like on Empire Flippers, we have dozens and dozens and dozens of businesses that are being sold on the marketplace right now. And every single week, we have between 8 to 18 new businesses for sale. And that number keeps going up lately. So we have the deal volume that you can tap into right away. And the other reason why buyers love using a broker is because of the negotiation aspect. So buyers tend to be a bit more savvy when it comes to the M&A space, especially after they get a few under their belt than sellers. Because sellers, it's usually a highlight event for them. So they're just not doing it often enough to really skill up. But buyers are. They often are buying more than one business at a time, or in a very short period of time, they'll buy more than one. So a seller or a buyer and a broker, they often speak very similar languages and they talk about it and they understand how to do deal structuring. But where the broker helps the buyer is the buyer or the broker can help the buyer understand where the seller is coming from. What does the seller want? What kind of deal are they looking for? So the broker can really coach that buyer on how to do the best deal structure that's going to be the most attractive and negotiate with that seller to accept that offer. Of course, only if the offer is good, because of course at Empire Flippers, we want a win-win-win situation where the buyer walks away with a hugely profitable business they just acquired. Seller walks away with hopefully a massive life-changing exit, and we win because both of those win. So we got paid for our service. We want everyone to walk away winning. We do believe it's not a zero-sum game. We think a deal can be had where everyone's happy. But with that said, a buyer that is doing private doesn't really know what the seller wants because the seller is obviously going to be a bit more guarded in what they're going to tell the buyer, because the seller and the buyer will probably be approaching negotiations in the worst way possible, which is a showdown instead of a collaboration. A broker allows the collaboration aspect of negotiations much, much, much easier. Okay, so let's move into my last point because I already covered why brokers are awesome in terms of deal volume and deal flow to help you out. But my last point here is why a broker is a buyer's best friend in many cases is because we're free. We cost you nothing. Most brokers do not charge a buyer anything. Now, there are some kind of brokers that do charge a service, and they'll often say, oh, I'm not a broker, but they act like a broker and they charge the buyers money for that. We don't do that. The vast majority of M&A advisory firms, they charge the seller, not the buyer. Now, I'm not harping on buyer side brokers. Those do really exist. Usually they are more like they're seeking out what your specific criteria is, though. They're not charging you like a little upfront service fee for random things like a due diligence report or something like that. But with all that said, when you use someone like us, you literally pay us nothing. You get free coaching, free consulting. We help you create a roadmap of success, whether you have $100,000 to spend or millions of dollars to deploy. We've helped entrepreneurs in that complete range, that complete package. So that is one of the biggest things. Like, you have nothing to lose when you use a broker. Now, the one thing why you might not want to use a broker for is if you are looking for super, super discounted deals where the seller just doesn't understand what their business is worth and you get to buy immense value for immensely cheap. Like, that is a use case where a broker probably won't make sense for you, where you have to do some private deal flow. And even if that is you, we want to do that because a broker will always try to sell the business for the maximum amount of value. And it's going to be very hard for you to find a deal like that on a marketplace like ours, because we do know the value of it, right? We do it every single day. But if you do private deal flow, you might find a seller who doesn't and get lucky, right? Now, with that said, even if that is like you're committed to that path, I would highly recommend still buying a business from a broker just to learn the process. Because if you're brand new and you can make a ton of mistakes when it comes to this, and this isn't a small amount of money, right? Like I said, this isn't like a small transaction. This could be one of the biggest transactions in your life, between $30,000, $200,000, $800,000, right? Most people say your home is the biggest investment you'll ever make. Well, let me tell you something about buying a business. Buying a business most likely will cost you a lot more money than buying your home, because there's not really any leverage, right? You can't go to Wells Fargo and get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right? Like, that doesn't really happen in this space. So buying a business is going to be one of the largest financial transactions of your life. At least the first one will probably be. And then over time, as you build success, hopefully it becomes less and less of a share of your net worth. But using a broker like that as kind of training wheels to buy even a small business can make a lot of sense, just so you understand the process, and then you can hopefully replicate the parts that make sense for you in a private scenario. All right, so that's the video. This is why brokers are like a buyer's best friend. A broker can coach them, give them the roadmap to success, help negotiate the deal, massive deal volume for them to tap into, and it's free. You can't, it's 100% free for you. So that's amazing, right? So all these reasons is why buyers love using brokers. And if you're a brand new buyer, you've never bought a business yet, but you really want to, I highly recommend you go down in the link below and register for a free marketplace account. You're going to get access to all the tools of the trade to really filter through that massive deal volume I talked about earlier to find a business that makes sense with your own criteria. And of course, you don't have a criteria yet because, hey, you're brand new, and that's okay. We can help you set up that criteria discovery call, no problem at all. So just go ahead, click that link below, register, and you can give us a call. We'll help you out. Talk to you soon. And again, if you did like this video, please subscribe and leave a comment. I'll talk to you later.